So Siddharth, I'm going to go ahead and let you give us an update from the ambassador side.
We'll just move all that to the Jenkins file, and it'll all automatically get taken
Okay, let me share my screen.
And then every time you do an update, even if it's a brand new microservice, you just put that snippet of code into the
Already June.
You can go ahead and pick it up and create it.
Cool. Hello, everyone. Good day, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever geographical location you are. In terms of how we're performing in the LinkedIn space, I think our followers have increased in the last 1 week. If I see the trend, we have got over 30 followers of Ortelius in last 1 week. So good numbers. I don't know what happened in last 1 week, but we got this so much traction. The numbers, yes, are encouraging in terms of how we have progressed. So now we have all over 81 followers. If you see activities, I think one of the things that was asked earlier was also is, how about if you guys, you have received this, how should I put it, the badges. How about you start sharing your badges on the LinkedIn? Tracy, can you be on mute? We can hear Steve very loudly. Thank you so much. Okay, so quick things is if you can start showcasing your badges, I think most of the people have done, few are remaining, so that it gets little more traction, one space. Second is what I was looking forward is remember the Buzzsprout podcast. So I've created this document, and the expectation is that you list out the expected topics that you think could be part of the podcast, and it could be randomly any topic. So don't even think of what are you, which topic you're expecting. At least have some brainstorming over there. What I'll do is I'll share this.
Hey, Siddharth.
Yes.
Would you share the one that you did so that everybody gets an idea of how you structured it? Because it was really helpful to see how you had done it.
Okay. Do you want that to be shared right now, or as to be shared as an attachment, or how do you want that?
No, you don't have to include it in the document. Just share it right now so everybody can see what you're looking at trying to build. Because it was, once I saw what you had done, I thought it was really helpful.
All right, let me share that. So what I've done is, and I mentioned earlier also is, this we have done for our NatWest community event. We are inviting speakers from outside, and we want them to share their stories around the DevOps journey. Let me tell you how does it looks like. So what we had a word. This is what we call it as a partner tale session within the NatWest group. So what we say is that the speaker will get 30-minute slot, additional followed by a Q&A of 10 minutes, which is 40-45 minutes of session. So when you come up and share something, this is how your flow of event should look like. So you should talk about your organization and the industry you work in, the role that you play in your organization, the business problem that you have tried solving, how did you approach that, then your challenges, then your tools and techniques whichever you use. So we are not emphasizing on tools and technique. Tools and technique is just one part of the conversation. Then what was the outcome that you achieved? And most importantly, what we do is, generally what happens in most of the events, a speaker come up, he shares whatever great ideas and thoughts are, and then he leads the session. What we are doing within the NatWest group is we are having conversations also after the event ends. So the last thing that we ask from the speaker is call out what help you require from the community, and how do you want, what problems do you want the community to solve for you. So what we're doing is after this, there is an open-ended conversation that remains. And so people have a conversation with the speakers that how they want their help to be. After that, what we do is, so when you're talking about this whole flow, what categories and subcategories? So what you said is the speaker should, and I'll go slow right now. The speaker need to select one category, whether it could be Gen apps and cloud, or it could be overcoming old ways of working, or it could be dynamic learning and organization culture. So again, the important is not that since we are a DevOps community, so we'll only talk about DevOps tools, technologies, and that's it. No. We will also talk about diversity and inclusion. We will also talk about psychological safety. We'll also talk about healthy teams, which is also part of it. And then once you choose a category, we've chosen a subcategories also. So when you say dynamic learning organization culture, what we're talking about is diversity inclusion, psychological safety, team empowerment, all those things. Or when you're coming up old ways of working, what we're talking about is the dev agility part, the value stream management part. So what is happening is after we have created the structure, the speakers whom we are inviting and those who come up and have a talk, they get a great idea of what we are expecting from them to talk about. And this is how also the additional benefit of this is we are creating an internal database of each of these categories also. So how much, let's say value stream management, what are the talks we have done? So we can quickly, since we are classifying it, so we can see in value stream management, we have this 4 or 5 different talks that we have. Does that make sense to you? Does it help you? Tracy have seen it, so I know her opinion, but what is the opinion of other folks? That is what we want the end picture to be for our Ortelius podcast as well.
That's brilliant to me, man. Super. That's so good.
So we need to create our own version of this in different categories. And what's can you share the doc in the chat that you created?
Yes, I'll do that. Yeah, I'll do that.
And then I'll put it in the notes.
Is the idea this is like a framework for presentations going forward, podcasts?
Yeah, so think about it this way. We're going to reach out to folks to ask them if they'd like to be part of our podcast, to get speakers or guests, we'll call them guests. And we could create a form that has all of those options, and so they can specify what they would like to talk about. And when I've learned that if you give people more structure, it's easier for them to participate because they may not have it may help them get some ideas about how they can be part of that conversation. But otherwise, if you don't give them some structure, they struggle more with coming up with an idea. So it just helps pull it together.
Oh, it's brilliant, man. Siddharth, you put that all together. Jeepers.
Yeah. And in the other side, I think we probably are going to have two scenarios. Just want to say that if you are not really sure how to put your idea on this framework, reach the people or the team to support you, because we don't want to people don't try to do something because maybe it doesn't fit well on this. So in the other side, it's a good idea to try and then get super help for the rest of the people to I don't know, to fill this and structure this into this, but just don't stop trying doing things, because sometimes when you structure something, it makes people don't try it. So that's like a thought I want to share.
Yeah, we should always have another category that says, choose a topic. What would you like to talk about? You get somebody that says they want to talk about, rebuilding their transmission in their car. We may go, yeah, it's probably not what we want to do.
Yeah, experimentation is a good thing too. So if someone has I don't know, something is passionate to speak, try it. Please try it.
Yeah.
Sorry, just to say one thing. There was a guy at the SRE thing at the DevOps Institute, the SRE Skill Up Days, and he spoke about his racing team, and he used that as an example of SRE, what SRE is and how it fits together. And it was all about how they built their car and how they optimized it for racing. It was brilliant. So you could in a sense use.
You could.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard that analogy before with a racing car.
This guy was an actual racer. I mean, he was in technology, obviously, and he's an SRE, I think. But he used his hobby as an example. It was brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, these days we're changing the tires as we go, as we're driving.
Exactly. Hmm.
That's the new world that we have today with Kubernetes and high availability and the whole architecture that was available now in microservices.
So what are your devs like the race car when they're pulling into DevOps to get some new wheels and and refuel?
Yeah.
It's an interesting idea to take stuff that is very accepted in the tech business and then try and apply it to something else. I saw in a series of articles a couple of years ago about DevOps for parenting, and real parents were talking about how they were doing these things with their children and how it was working out for them at home, and I'm like, wow, y'all are amazing.
Well,
cool.
one of our TOC members, Tim Kelton, he's actually using Kubernetes to drive semi-trucks. He actually works for a company that's I think they just bought Uber. Or or division of Uber around the self-driving trucks.
Wow.
So running it all with Kubernetes.
Wow, that's amazing.
So literally we're changing the tires as we go.
Sorry, see that we just messing around with this topic. We should go back to that.
All right, back to the real stuff.
Okay. It'd be amazing you could do that with your bank account.
Yeah.
And yes, congratulations to Steve for making it to the CDF board.
Thank you.
Tracy, you may call it out. I think I have taken probably one of your things that you might have to share about Steve.
You're on mute, Tracy.
Thank you for reminding me to congratulate Steve for his new role on the TOC board. Yes. And the other thing we have to be proud of is that 3 of us nominated ourselves and got nominated to be potential members as well. So they have 2 general member representatives on that board, and anybody who's part of a project can add themselves. And Siddhartha is in the running. Garima is in the running, and Brad is in the running, and 2 others. So thank you for stepping up and putting your name out there and saying, hey, why not? Why not me? It was great to see 3 of our committers on the list of 5. Way to go. It was awesome. And I'm hoping that at least one of you get in there. We get to vote for 2. And if
do you know when the voting is?
Well, I think that I don't know if it's an open vote. I think that the board votes.
Okay. I can't remember what the rules on that.
I'm pretty sure the board votes. It's a board, and it may be the TOC board that votes. I'll have to look. Anybody, Siddharth, let me look.
I'll share that link, who is on the board of, who can vote out.
Okay.
So anyways, we're rooting for our own. And now if it's the board, or if it's the general board, or if it's the TOC board, you know that you're going to get our votes at least.
Yeah.
Exactly. All right, Steve, you want to give an update on what we're doing on the catalog, the service catalog project?
Yep. So what we need to do, I've been having meetings with the GitOps group in Australia as part of the Thursday afternoon meetings, and they're focused on the GitOps. I talked to Brad McCoy last week, and we're in this weird transition on our Azure cluster. I did manage to get another $25,000 worth of credits to run our Kubernetes cluster over in Azure, and it's good for another year. So the accounting switch is happening the 3rd, June 3rd. So I should have all of that switched over by the 4th or 5th. So Taurus, I'll be able to get you, once the accounting switch is done, I'll be able to get people access that need access to the Azure cluster after that. So just sit tight on that front. So that group is putting together a white paper around GitOps. And if you're interested in that, reach out to Brad McCoy on Discord or Taurus. On the service catalog, we have a lot of the base, I would say the groundwork in place for the microservices. And now we need to go ahead and basically ramp up and get this thing finished up. So you'll see a lot more issues and me bugging you to see if you're going to complete something. If you don't have time to work on something, that's perfectly fine. Just let me know to where we stand. I can shift that coding effort to somebody else. So don't feel bad if we're going through this. I'm going to try to finish up the service catalog in the next month and a half to get it out the door. So if there's anything that you are working on that you're not able to, just let me know and we'll get it taken care of. No big deal. I know there's people have other things going on with work and their personal lives, so don't worry about that. But on the service catalog, we've uncovered a couple interesting things. The Swagger UI or the Swagger piece, bringing that in is going to be, from what we've talked to microservice developers, that's been a big interest as part of that. And then also the CVE and licensing is also a big interest that we're going to be bringing into the product. There is one of our potential customers from the Deploy Hub side that said that our service catalog for that we're producing wasn't what their developers were looking for. And I'm trying to get a meeting with them to find out what we're missing from a cataloging perspective. So if anybody has any ideas on other things to add to the catalog, please drop me a note. So that's kind of where we're at on that front. Oh, one other thing is in Discord, I did add a stand-up channel. Basically, the idea behind it is just to put your dependencies, you know, if you're waiting on me for something or if I'm waiting on you, and just an idea of when it's going to be completed, just so we could do some coordination on that front. On that Discord channel, I'm going to go and delete things that have been completed. So it'll just be the short list that we can work from, and we can have conversations around those specific topics around the dependencies between people. Longer dev dependencies on like coding strategies or whatever would still happen in the dev channel. But the stand-up channel is just literally to ping somebody and let them know that you're waiting on something from them. That's the purpose of it. It's replacing our Monday stand-up meetings that we're doing in the past. We're going to give it a try, see how it works, and just play it by ear on that one. So that's kind of the idea behind that. Any questions?
No, but I do just, I have a comment. We want to be able to get this stuff, the service catalog stuff done by like mid-August, so we can do some press releases. The trade show kind of conference season hits in September. We have KubeCon and some other like DevOps World. It would be great to have that as a news announcement for those shows. So
yeah, that's the goal, to get it out. I'd like to get it out at least a month before that. Like you said, end of July timeframe is kind of like the latest I'd be wanting to make something available, so you can get all the press releases, we can make sure all the documentation is updated. You know, there's still a lot of work. You know, the coding side is not that bad, but all the things that go along with coding just take just as much training. All that has to come along. be pulled along for the ride.
Okay, and then before we lose, we've got 8 more minutes left. The next kind of government organizational task that we have for Ortelius is we need to put together our own governing board, and then we need to figure out, we need to bring on probably 2 members from the community to be on our official technology oversight committee board. So Garima has taken on the task of figuring out how Jenkins does their elections and how they run their own governing board. So she's going to reach out to Oleg, who is on the who's basically running Jenkins, and he's going to do sit down with her and go over all of their docs and how they have their governing board. So once we understand how we do that, then we'll put nominations out. You'll be able to nominate yourself for the governing board, and then we'll do an internal election across the 120 people that we have on our mailing list. And so that's how that will happen.
And the purpose of the governing board is to be a representative from the project up to the CDF organization. Outside of all the SIGs and stuff like that, they need somebody. They need a point contact to work with from the CDF and the Linux Foundation from a governance standpoint. So if anybody wants more paperwork.
Yeah, exactly. But that will be coming, and that's kind of the last thing that we need in terms of putting the structure of our. I mean, you don't have to have a governing board. Screwdriver doesn't have one, but it seems like it is a better structure if you do have one. So, for example, if we wanted to say we want to identify somebody as a product manager, the governing board could say we're going to have a role as a product manager, and then we would put that out as a nominate yourself, and we'll vote for who's going to be our product manager. Those kinds of structural things that allows us to do easier.
And it looks like we have, for the last 5 minutes, looks like we have some new people that have come across. I've talked to a couple of them before, but they haven't been at a general meeting yet. So Bala and Devendran, and those are the 2 new people. If you could just introduce yourself to the group and say hi.
Yeah, hi all. So I'm Bala Vignesh. So I'm an young SRE. So I am new to this field, and I think I have earlier talked to Steve and Tracy, and I think I will learn new things here.
Perfect. Welcome aboard.
Thanks.
I'm myself Devendran. I've been like a Python developer for like 7 years now, and I worked on some of the DevOps tools as well. And apart from technology, I like to talk tennis as well. So I play tennis and to talk about that.
Perfect. Welcome aboard. We may need a few other people to help mentor some of the new folks that are starting out with programming microservices. So I may be bugging a few of you.
I like mentoring. I like it. I'll do it.
All right, you're a pro at it now, Sasha. Your wife is rubbing off on you. You're becoming a famous professor here.
You must remember, you must marry smart guys.
Awesome. Well, welcome everybody. And I think that's all I had, unless I'm missing something. Nope, I think I'm good for now. If anybody has anything, let me know. Oh, and just a comment on the whole stand-up and the this push that we're going to have. You know, I may be bugging you. Just don't take it personally. just trying to keeping everything moving along.
I was thinking about from the beginning. This is just a thought. I'm going to try to put it in some kind of description, but I think the growing in LinkedIn and the success with the batches are really great. I think maybe we can move out to like a next step. I think that probably there is people that can contribute, but in a really spot way, like doing something really specifically. So I was thinking like maybe we have like a not badges, but like kind of points. You know, you move in like 5 points to the win a badge, and still you can recognize that I don't know, I make a blog post, I make one talk, and if you can share that on our LinkedIn, it's going to be successful as well, because at the end LinkedIn is each post make that impact. So I think we could have something like that. So I'm going to try to. I just going to try to draw something funny to maybe get
Okay.
catch on that, and maybe after that we can put it in inside the structure of the batch.
Yeah, that works.
Cool.
Yeah, always stuff like that. Rewards are always fun to have, especially with the way you come up with these ideas of how to represent it in an image. Alrighty, everybody. Thank you so much, and we will be in touch.
Have a good one.
Take care.
Guys, take care.
So